On Friday, it was Benjamin Netanyahu's turn to speak. And of course, the childish behaviour of the UN continued with heckling and a walkout by delegates. Why we fund this obnoxious and largely pointless and dangerous institution is beyond me. But anyway, when Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke, he didn't mince his words. First up, he addressed his astonishing military successes of the last 12 months.
Half the Houthi leadership in Yemen, gone. Yahya Sinwar in Gaza, gone. Hassan Nasrallah in Lebanon, gone. The Assad regime in Syria, gone. Those militias in Iraq, well, they're still deterred. And their leaders, if they attack Israel, will also be gone. And for Iran's top military commanders and its top atomic bomb scientists, well, they're gone too. President Trump and I promised to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons, and we delivered on that promise.
Next, Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to finish the job.
The final remnants of Hamas are holed up in Gaza City. They vow to repeat the atrocities of October 7th again and again and again, no matter how diminished their forces. That is why Israel must finish the job. That is why we want to do so as fast as possible.
And the Prime Minister then had two powerful messages. First, directly to the hostages themselves, and secondly, to those who are holding them in horrific and barbaric conditions.
We will not falter and we will not rest until we bring all of you home. So to the remaining Hamas leaders and to the jailers of our hostages, I now say, lay down your arms. Let my people go. Free the hostages, all of them, the whole 48. Free the hostages now.
And it wouldn't be a Netanyahu UN speech without a few props and a bit of black humour, and the Prime Minister didn't disappoint.
And of course, you understand that the war in Gaza has affected every Israeli. But I'm sure there are people in New York or in London or in Melbourne and elsewhere who are probably thinking, what does all of this have to do with me? And the answer is everything. Because our enemies are your enemies. So let's do something else. So first at the UN, let's do a pop quiz. And raise your hand if you know the answer. Here's the first question. Who shouts death to America? Is it A, Iran, B, Hamas, C, Hezbollah, D, the Houthis, or E, all of the above? All of the above. Correct, all of the above. Second question. Who has murdered Americans and Europeans in cold blood? Is it A, Al-Qaeda, B, Hamas, C, Hezbollah, D, Iran, or E, all of the above? All of the above. Correct. Again. So here's the point I wanted to make. Our enemies hate all of us with equal venom. They want to drag the modern world back to the past, to a dark age of violence, fanaticism, and terror.
Indeed, that is their goal. Netanyahu then talked about the importance of Israel's war against these forces of darkness and how Israel is merely the front line in our, yours and mine, battle for Western Enlightenment beliefs, values and traditions.
Behind closed doors, many of the leaders who publicly condemn us privately thank us. They tell me how much they value Israel's superb intelligence services that have prevented time and again terrorist attacks in their capitals, time and again saving countless lives. This is precisely what Israel is doing in Gaza. We're wiping out the terror regime of Hamas and ensuring that this savagery will never threaten Israel again. That's what we are doing. That's what any self-respecting government would do.
But there was no disguising the disgust that Benjamin Netanyahu rightly feels for all those countries, including shamefully ours, under the appalling Albanese and Wong government, countries such as Australia that have pandered to the Muslim vote, shown zero leadership in combating rampant anti-Semitism, and then in every national forum, including the United Nations, have sided against our once firm friend and ally Israel, and instead constantly accused Israel of all sorts of iniquities, including, of course, allowing the accusation of genocide to go unchallenged.
Yet, and it's a yet that I'm sorry to say here, yet over time, many world leaders buckled. They buckled under the pressure of a biased media, radical Islamist constituencies, and anti-Semitic mobs. For much of the past 2 years, Israel has had to fight a seven-front war against barbarism, with many of your nations opposing us. I say to the representatives of those nations, this is not an indictment of Israel. It's an indictment of you. It's an indictment of weak-kneed leaders who appease evil rather than support a nation whose brave soldiers guard you from the barbarians at the gate. They're already penetrating your gates. When will you learn? You can't appease your way out of jihad, and you won't escape the Islamist storm by sacrificing Israel. To overcome that storm, you have to stand with Israel. But that's not what you're doing. Israel is accused of deliberately targeting civilians. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposite is true. The head of urban warfare studies, Colonel John Spencer, he's perhaps the world's greatest expert on urban warfare. And he says, Israel is applying more measures to minimize civilian casualties than any military in history.
Indeed, as Bernard-Henri Levy, you might remember we had him on the show a few years ago, wrote this week in the Wall Street Journal, and I'm quoting him, a genocidal army does not take 2 years to win a war in a territory the size of Las Vegas. A genocidal army does not send SMS warnings before firing or facilitating the passage of those trying to escape the strikes. A genocidal army wouldn't evacuate every month hundreds of Palestinian children suffering from rare diseases or cancer, sending them to hospitals in Abu Dhabi as part of a medical airlift set up right after October 7th. To speak of genocide in Gaza is an offence to common sense, a manoeuvre to demonize Israel, and an insult to the victims of genocides past and present. That was Bernard-Henri Levy in the Wall Street Journal this week. But finally, back to Albanese and Wong and the disgraceful actions of the Australian government this week in the United Nations. Don't forget, under the terms of the Oslo Accords, which this Labour government pretends to support, a Palestinian state can only ever be recognised after all the preconditions have been fulfilled to the happiness of both sides. Yet the hypocrites and charlatans of Albozo's government bang on endlessly about the rules-based international order, but are quite happy to ignore those same international laws when it suits their undergraduate socialist fantasies. No wonder Prime Minister Netanyahu saved his ire and his disgust for them.
This week, the leaders of France, Britain, Australia, Canada, and other countries unconditionally recognized a Palestinian state. You know what message the leaders who recognized a Palestinian state this week sent to the Palestinians? It's a very clear message. Murdering Jews pays off. Well, I have a message for these leaders. When the most savage terrorists on earth are effusively praising your decision, you didn't do something right. You did something wrong, horribly wrong. Your disgraceful decision will encourage terrorism against Jews and against innocent people everywhere. It will be a mark of shame on all of you. But wait a minute, Mr. Prime Minister, they tell me. Wait a minute. We believe in a two-state solution where the Jewish state of Israel will live side by side in peace with the Palestinian state. There's only one problem with that. The Palestinians, they don't believe in this solution. They never have. They don't want a state next to Israel. They want a Palestinian state instead of Israel.
Absolutely. The Albanese government has brought shame and humiliation onto this nation. Ours is not a national government, it's a national disgrace.